It's your boy Conservist 34. We're gonna talk Tampa very, very soon. Enjoy this stone. Let's go. All right. Intro. Cue the intro.
It's your boy Console Viz 34 back at home.
What up? What up? It's your boy Concert Viz 34.
Yep, so your boy Console Viz 34 coming to you here.
What up? What up? It's your boy Concert Viz 34. Aria. Okay, so this is Aria, and just tell us a little bit about yourself and about your love for the Dave Matthews Band.
I've been a fan of the band since April 28, 1998, and if you recognize the date, that's when Before These Crowded Streets was released.
Alpine is definitely a better venue than Summerfest, but we'll take it. I think I've been going to shows for about 20-something years.
I always tell people, like, compare DMB to now to when I first started. And I got started, in my opinion, I feel like I got started late. Like, I was at the very end of the band's prime. I feel like that 03 to 06 was like the end of the prime. 07, 08 was like, you know, we're at the very end. And then when Roy passed.
Dave really, this is the thing. Dave has put, Rashawn has been assigned the quarterback of this team. He is the coach, the play caller. He designs the jams. Dave just shows up and plays whatever he's going to play. Florida, stand up. Tampa Bay, what up? St. Petersburg, what up? Clearwater, what up? It's your boy Concert Viz 34 here. Shout out to everyone in Hillsborough County. Everyone in Hillsborough County, what up? We know Carol Baskin did it. Let's get her in jail. Pinellas County, what up? Everyone down there in Sarasota, Fort Myers, a little further south. What up, what up, what up? West side of Florida tonight for DMB. and we're going to get this show underway. We have some guests that are going to be coming here to talk about this show. And we're also going to talk about today is the 10-year anniversary of me going to Dave Matthews Band shows. So it is a big day for me personally. And we had a show tonight which had some surprises, and we're going to look ahead to West Palm Beach at the end as far as what to expect there. And that should be a big weekend there. But Dreaming Tree is free.
Convict music.
Dreaming Tree is free.
Convict music.
I mean, that's the biggest thing I think of this show is this is the third Dreaming Tree. Just to give you guys some context here, when Dreaming Tree, the summer tour of 1998, Dreaming Tree was played 5 times. Okay, 5 times total in the summer of 98 when the album came out. It's already been played 3 times for this tour. No Warehouse, right? That's the other thing. Warehouse has been locked up for tonight. Warehouse has been locked up for tonight.
Convict music.
Boy. So that's another big thing. They did not repeat that. And we also have the debut for a full band D&B show. And that is of Something to Tell My Baby. We also have a Sledgehammer tour debut. So we have that coming back here. Those are the big things from this weekend. But we have our first guest here that is waiting. He went from never seeing Dreaming Tree ever in his personal life to flying by the first version of this, literally flying over the northern suburbs of Houston as it was being played in the northern suburbs of Houston. He then goes to ATL for his hometown show, and he gets Dreaming Tree. Then he goes down to Tampa Bay and gets Dreaming Tree for 2 shows in a row. And what did he tell his baby? That's what Justin is asking. We're going to find out what he told his baby. We're going to learn today. Let's bring in Mark. Mark, how you doing?
Great. Another super high energy show in Tampa. As always, the 19 show and the 21 show in Tampa were both extraordinary shows. So going in, I had pretty high hopes. And it was really cool to see 2 very energetic D&B shows back to back. Atlanta and Tampa, both Grand Slam shows, crowd super into it all night. Had a blast.
It's great to hear. Now, for what made this crowd, how did like this is a midweek show. This is a Tuesday. So you're saying this crowd was actually at the same level as ATL on Saturday?
I was in the pit for this show, so that probably had something to do with it. The venues are designed so differently. So Atlanta has the small pit, Tampa has the huge pit like Bristow. Those huge pits just really have a lot of room for a lot of people to jam and dance, and the energy levels in those are always really good. So I thought the crowd was absolutely fantastic. Atlanta crowd was so loud, but Tampa, every time I'm here in Tampa for a midweek show, it's just a Grand Slam show, and the crowd's always good. So yeah, I'd give it a big thumbs up.
That's great to hear. And we did have some of our other friends of the show that were at this show. There's a picture of D&B mamas in the pit there with some of her other mamas that she's with. And we have a set list here as well. I don't know if you saw this.
I meant to send you a text. I didn't get one, but I tracked one down after the show for you, and I forgot to text it to you. But yeah, I saw it, and no changes, I think, right?
Yeah, no changes. Everything was what it was. No shotguns crossed off, or no switch up of the encore, no reversal of the encore. So what were some of the things like early on in this show? So we have
41, great opener, 41 right out of the gate. People love Funny the Way It Is. Literally just from the start onward, the crowd was fully into it. The band had it going on. It reminded me a lot of whichever West Palm show last year opened with 41. I think it was West Palm Night 2, and that was also just a great show. So, I've had a lot of luck lately with these 41 openers that just lead to an awesome night.
Gotcha. And we had the most covers of the entire tour so far. We had 3 covers. You have the Maker early on, Sledgehammer in the middle, and they close out with Watchtower. What did you feel about having 3 covers? Did you like it? Did you not like it?
Loved it because anytime I can get away from songs like Can't Stop and Do You Remember, which I just feel plague set lists in general, not even just this year, but a lot of songs like that, then that's good. And Satellites and even songs like Nancy's and Warehouse that have been played at least 6 out of the 7 shows, or whatever stat we're at, almost every show this tour. It's cool just to see him change it up. Maker sounded phenomenal. I mean, I absolutely loved Maker. Sledgehammer, we thought it was again and again this time, just like Atlanta, but it was not. It was Sledgehammer. That one blows the crowd up every time, and then so does Watchtower. Just love the Zeppelin piece in the middle. A lot of people criticize Watchtower, but it could be so much worse than the encore. You could literally get like a Sister Shake Me or something like that. I mean, Watchtower, I'm a big fan of. And then we got the new song, so that was cool.
And what did you think of the new song in this setting? First time hearing this.
Dave gave a huge speech before the song, like really big speech about the shooting, and literally said like something along the lines of he doesn't want his son to go to school and get his head blown fucking off. And the crowd just was like, whoa. And then he said he would like everybody in the crowd to think of someone that they are missing that is no longer with us on this song. And it was pretty quiet around me, at least, in that part of the pit. I was on the left side. I kind of expected that he would play it after he did it at the solo show in Atlanta the other day. I was like, maybe one of the Florida shows will open with that in the E1. But, after the shooting, maybe it was a guarantee. I was just glad he didn't play Come Tomorrow in Florida for the 100 millionth time, because that seems to always happen. But Something Tell My Baby's fine. It's not a very long one. It's short, but it's better to me than hearing Sister a million times.
Yes. And also, this is the rarest. Now, the Almanac says 1 of 7. There's actually been 8 non, side shows or kind of invite only private shows. But this was the least rare least rarest show as far as song rarity rank. It had 2 repeats from the night before. That's So Damn Lucky. And no.
Look at it with the 2 because they're
right.
Solo show,
I totally. Okay, this threw me off. Yeah, no, that's a good point. So never mind. But it is still it's still putting it. Almanac has it as the rarest of them. But what did you think of this show compared to some of the other shows as far as that like set list diversity from the previous night?
I expected some repeats, but it wasn't so loaded down that I was disappointed. Like if you're going to see DMB multiple nights in a row, unless it's a 2-night stand, you're going to get repeats. And that's just how the band always has been. And that's how they are right now. They will not repeat at a 2-night stand, which is great, unless it's like a one-off exception with the song Come Tomorrow or something. But they won't do that in general. So I thought the variation was totally fine. Jimmy Thing reappeared, which is fine. We didn't have Crush, though. We didn't have Nancy's. We didn't have Warehouse. A lot of the songs that were played so much on this tour, well, some of them, they skipped this show, and I thought that was good. So I had no problems with the set list variety. I'm just so focused on the energy level these days. Like Brandon, I told you, was a barn burner start to finish, really great, energetic show. Huntsville and Charlotte really struggled to get things going. Like from the get-go, they were just not super energetic. The flow wasn't great for those shows. I found with Atlanta and Tampa, when the show goes by seemingly so fast, when you look down and you're already on like song number 16 and the whole show is flowing by, I'm like, okay, that's a super energetic, fun show to be at. And you're not wondering like, okay, well, what's next? Is it ever going to pick up like I was for the other 2?
Gotcha. And are you going to the shows this weekend in West Palm Beach?
Yeah, so it looks like I'm going to do West Palm. There's a few days off to work here remote, which is good. And so I'll do West Palm, and then I'll probably close it out with Charleston and Jax, and that'll be it. And I may do like a one-off Alpine later in the tour, just because they don't play Alpine very much, and I think that'd be a cool one to see.
Well, hey, I'll be at Alpine, so let me know if you end up going up there.
Oh, let's do it.
So, and
so what is set list watching? I do that for the rest of the tour. So watching at home, you see one thing with the set list, you're like, oh, whatever, the show was mediocre or it was great. How did you feel watching the updates or just checking it? And you were like, what were your thoughts?
So I actually, listen, I'm not gonna lie. I had woke up early for like a 6 a.m. workout, so I fell asleep. I took a nap, but I did see the number 41 from Rab's Instagram live, and
That's cool.
my personal opinion was, I love that they did not play "Come Tomorrow," and even the fact that they did not. If you didn't want to force a Gaucho or Mercy, that's fine. But I think number 41 was a song that, hey, last night was horrible. Here is a song to lift the spirits. It has this idea of going in this way and finding our own way out, but we're still going to put on a show to give people hope and give people energy. And we'll get to the discussion in the encore. But I love how he started off with 41. I will say this about "Come Tomorrow." First off, it's a horribly written song. Okay.
No
It's
doubt.
horribly written song. And the message of "Come Tomorrow" is something I somewhat don't like about DMB, because what's happening in this country right now. I just was on about Buffalo. Listen, I try to stay away from this on this stream, but this country and the world in general, it is crazy right now. And we can't have this, oh, come tomorrow, the kids are going to save it. No, we have to protect our kids. We have to look out for our own families. We have to look out for the men in our families, for the women in our husbands have to look out for wives. Wives have to look out for husbands. The things that are happening to everyone in this country, "Come Tomorrow" is not the message. Gaucho is the message that we got to do much more than believe if we want to change things. So I'm glad that was the most important thing about tonight is, listen, this is not "Come Tomorrow" land. This is, we got to do some stuff in so many different ways, even if that just means helping our neighbor, looking out for each other, hey, checking in on a buddy, hey, checking in, hey, something looks suspicious, I need to call somebody because I don't want them to do something to, I don't want them to do something to affect. So that's just my personal opinion. Now, the rest of the show, I don't personally, I like The Maker. I was fine with that. Sledgehammer and Watchtower are my personal songs that I don't want played a lot during this tour. Watchtower is too much Tim Reynolds. The best version was the acoustic. Sledgehammer is fun, but I only want a couple plays a year in a perfect world. Now that they're starting it now, I think it's going to get more. In the middle of all this, I thought that this set was just like the other sets. It gave people, ticket prices are high, right? There are some people, and we'll talk about this throughout these next couple of weeks. There are some people that were upset about the repeats, even when Dreaming Tree was played. But I think that the great thing about this tour, every venue is getting a special song. Break Free and Dreaming Tree tonight. Break Free, Break Forward, Shotgun, Dreaming. Like, you could pick your two deep cuts. I love how that's happening, and I love how, again, we're at the almost going into the bottom of the ninth inning, and there's no bayous. Bottom of the ninth inning, there's been no everydays. It probably will be played this weekend.
No Shake Me.
No Shake Me Like a Monkey. Yeah, exactly. So I like how some of these songs are out of rotation. Can't Stop was not played tonight. Like you said, Do You Remember is not played tonight. And I think that this idea, again, ticket prices are expensive. Some people can only make a couple of shows or one show. And no matter where you're going on this tour, if the Deep South is like this, it gives me hope for people who only can make one show, a Hartford show, a Mansfield show, a Bethel Woods show. I like that. Now, listen, I would love for some more stuff to come out. I would love for some stuff to make. I would love to see more song variety. But
Stone.
the Stone opener, right? But yeah, Greg says don't curse the New England shows, Marcus. But I mean, at the same time, I think this is great because listen, everyone is getting some sort of rarity. You're getting the hits. I mean, a song like Granny, a song like Idea of You. These are songs that, yes, sure. If you're a diehard fan, you've been to 70 shows, 80 shows, you've probably seen them. But hey, listen, this is what the band is. If you don't like this, cut your shows or go to the 2 night stands. I think that's where we're at. So I thought this was great overall. My number one negative or concern is more of the covers because I like when Dave Matthews covers his own music. So.
Yeah, that makes sense. Makes total sense to me. So it's been a good preseason run. Let's see what happens when things get going with West Palm because do I have it correct? It goes West Palm right into Charleston, right into Jacksonville. So we have 3 2-night stands in a.
Yeah. So we're gonna have 3 2-night stands. So Dave is gonna be tender swindling us and having just a lot of little 2-offs here, and we send him money and he scams us. Not
That's the funniest thing.
But no, I'm excited about that. Let's see, Kermit the Frog. Let's see what he says here.
Zach.
So he says, I was doing some looking, and there's a lot of songs in the usual DMB roster that haven't gotten a tour debut yet. Stuff that really was more of a staple. The song list this year is very interesting. Absolutely. So again, Bayou in recent years hasn't been debuted, right? We also have, Shake Me is hit or miss, but Every Day is a frequently played song that is not here. And, even looking at, let's go back, another song.
Buddy's everyday kind of like shine on Buddy moment during the show is really now like his moment on So Damn Lucky with the thank you singing since he sings on that. So maybe that's part of it.
Right. I love that too. I would rather them play So Damn Lucky like that than have an Everyday.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we have, so the top 5, Gray Street. Now, Gray Street was the most played song last year. Warehouse was second. Nancy's was third. So Much to Say was fourth. Too Much. Can't, but let's see. But Louisiana Bayou is one of those frequently played songs that we didn't get at all so far.
Good.
So that's a big thing. Let me see if I can find some other songs. I'm just looking at the stats here. Let me just pull up some shows. So just because then you'll be like, oh yeah, it was the 900th time it was played.
Oh, yeah. So we'll get some cool deep cuts coming up. Like maybe they pull a typical situation coming up or something like that. We'll get something interesting coming.
Yeah. Oh, Big Eye. So Jeff is saying Big Eye Fish needs to come out this weekend. We'll see.
Oh, yeah.
Bartender. But let's see if we can pull up just a random show at the Gorge.
Bartender down here in the South is almost literally impossible to get, but that would be nice. So
we have Bartender only got 5. Yeah, so that is a rarer song, but it has been played. What else we have here? I mean, we had 13 Windows singing from the windows last year, but that was a newer song. Let's see. I'm just trying to go scroll through here to see. And if Kermit the Frog, if there's any other songs that you notice specifically, tour. Lying in the Hands of God hasn't made a tour debut. I can see that.
That's a good one. Okay, yeah, that's fine.
And I love that song, but it hasn't made a debut. Let's see what else we can find here.
Cornbread,
yeah, and Minarets. Now, Minarets hasn't been played a lot. Let's see, tour. But it is interesting. Warehouse did lead last year, and it did leave. It was the most played song, and it's still the most played song. It is played. It's being played. Like I said, it was played every show but once, which is rarer. But it's one of those higher played songs. But that's what I can find. Like I said, the Bayou can't stop. I mean, no, Bayou. What was it? Was it the Bayou? What did I say? I said Bayou. Every Day were the two main ones. Those are the two main staples. Now, Kermit the Frog says the crazy thing about this Tampa show that is on paper, with the exception of Dreaming Tree and Break Free, it wouldn't surprise me if people saw this as a middle of the road show. I personally like it. I agree 100% with this because there isn't any other shock value to this show, right?
Right.
Outside of those two songs, Break Free just being the first time it's played at this venue, Dreaming Tree the second time ever it's been played at this venue, and everything else is kind of like there's no other moment where you're like, yo, like, yes, Madman's Eyes is great, but there's no other like classic song that you're like, oh, okay, here's the third song or here's the fourth song that was wild. And if we go back to Tampa last year,
We had a lot of those in a row. We had like JTR, the riff, typical Jane.
yeah, so you had a lot more punch here. Let's see if we can previous show at this venue.
That was one of the best shows of the 2021 tour last year.
Yeah, so you had a Tripping Billies into Raven. So if you look at the rarity of this, let's zoom out because I forgot I got the different setup here. But there was only 2 Ravens played last year, and one of them was at Tampa. You have a Tripping Billies opener, which is a better, rarer opener than 41. You have a Seek Up in the So Right, Win the World in 7, whatever. You Might Die Trying. So you have the only riff of the year is played in Tampa into JTR 1 of 3, into 1 of 9 of Jane, and then like you said, that typical situation only played 4 times. So you have that first half of that show is crazy.
That's the only set listed JTR of the year because the other two, one was in Syracuse when the rainstorm hit and the crowd chanted for it in the pit. I was watching the couch tour and Dave was like, okay, we'll actually take the request and do it. And then the final one was Rogers, where it looks like Dave came out. I was there and I was at that show and he audibled it himself. He came out with the Seek Up guitar and then immediately looked at the crowd and changed it himself. So that was cool. But JTR is really hard to get.
Right. The only one, and still, I love this stat. Again, no JTRs in the Pacific time zone since 2006.
Will that ever change?
It probably won't. Some of that is because obviously it's very dry. So you're not getting a rain. And the rain out there is not like a storm per se. You don't get storms out. Now, there are, they can come. But a lot of the Pacific Northwest is a lot of rain. Southern California is just straight up rain. They don't get thunderstorms. Maybe if you get a really, really big cold front after some warm weather in Denver, but that's not Pacific time. No, that's not. No, they're Mountain time. Sorry, never mind. So that doesn't count. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see, but it will be. Maybe it's something like how Dreaming Tree is played this year. If they decide to just have a JTR resurgence, just no matter what, anyone can get it. Like every couple of shows are going to play it. Even if they only play 10 versions of JTR, that's still a significant bump. So that's the only way I see it is if it's like one of those things. But yeah, you guys got Raven, even if only. Not a huge fan of it live. Think it's one of the best songs to put in a movie from the catalog, or put it in a rom-com, make some good royalties for the kids that are in college now, Dave, right? And for your son who's going to be going to college, right? But if only is only played twice last year in the summer/fall tour. So that's still a rare song. And you get a Windows Preacher T's Why I Am Stay. That's a very unique to get 3 of those, 3 full songs. Kill the Preacher is just a partial kind of segue. And then Kermit the Frog says, didn't even realize this, but crashing to me is now becoming a rarity. In the last 3 summer tours, it's only been played 13 times in total. Holy hell. I
Wow.
mean, it Crash Into Me, let's look at that. Crash Into Me really has always been, they brought it back in 2016 because it was like the 25th anniversary. I felt like they were playing it a little more here on the East Coast than they typically did, but it's interesting how the song is not played that much in general. Let's take a look at the song flow of this. So yeah, 2016. If you look at it, the last big year was 2016. And let's move off Kermit the Frog here and let's zoom out a little bit. So this year right here is 2016. It was played a lot. But even in like 2012, it was played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times all year. 2021, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And the debut of it, this was my first show. This was 10 years ago. Crash Into Me debuted at my first show. But 2013, you have a lot of these are winter tour. Look at the summer tour. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 winter tours in 2013. Only 7 times in the winter tour was it played. 2014 had a bunch of them. But even 2015, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, right? So it is something that if you look at it right here, the mid 2000s, the late 90s, this was played a lot. Look at 96. Holy moly.
Yeah.
But, and I know maybe you guys may not be able to see this up close, but just to show you, I guess it did get a lot in 19, but 16 was really when I noticed it came back. 16 it was when it came back. And I guess Mile High Dad or Shane Whitford says he talked about how it's creepy to sing that song at his current age, which that would make sense, right? Especially in the current climate of the world. It was a different world in the 90s than it is now, and some of that stuff, some of the lyrics, you guys know it. I'm not going to say it on here for the algorithm, but some of the lyrics are a little suggestive, so
Right.
that could be part of it. But great catch, Kermit the Frog. Appreciate that. And now Greg says Crash being shelved is shocking. Yes and no, because they never, as big of a hit as it is, at least, in the last 10 years, I really haven't caught it that much. I'm sure it was played a lot, but even like, I know 16, I remember in 2016, but even as big of a hit as this is, probably one of the most important songs for this band's trajectory. I know What Would You Say put him on the map, and Ants brought him to this level of fame, but Crash Into Me was just that song. It was that song that really, really is like, okay, this is not a fluke, and we're going to be superstars selling out stadiums by the time we hit 98 because of Crash in 96. It was like his John Mayer daughters, Crash Into Me, to show that it wasn't a
fluke.
Yeah, Angie. So Angie Whitford says, "Hey Mark, can't wait to see you taping on the lawn at Deer Creek."
Man, that is a great lawn. Shout out to Angie, who's awesome. The 2 lawns I absolutely love are West Palm and Deer Creek because the PA stacks on the back of the actual amphitheater roof pointing towards the lawn, it's just loud as hell out there. I mean, both venues, it just sounds so loud. So, I may change up at Deer Creek where I record from, but I'll probably still watch the show in the lawn just because it's audibly louder in the lawn than it is in the uppers.
Interesting. I'll have to walk around. I have uppers planned for night 1 and uppers for night 2. And if we get something like a Jimmy thing, or get a couple songs that I kind of have been caught, I would have already caught in Hartford and Mansfield, I may try to do that. I walk around there and just get a vibe. I know it's crowded. I know that lawn. I've seen the picture, the drone shots, but I'll try to walk around and experience that. That's really interesting that that they have that, because most of the Live Nation venues, like you mentioned, the speakers are outdated. They don't turn them up.
Right.
And it's also more of a club for most of those venues. The alcohol sales are going to be high on the lawn because they paid less money to get in. They're not as, you have some diehard, but it's easier to go in and out because you have people. It's a lawn. It's not like you have to slide through, seats and go down and find your seat in the dark. It's just, hey, you're in the lawn. The drinks are right there. You walk up to the top of the hill. So I think that's another thing about some of these Live Nation venues. They don't want the sound to be loud. They want it to be more like a club. They want you to talk. They want you to flirt. They want you to grab a couple drinks. They want you to buy a drink for somebody if you're looking for love up there. So I think that's a tactic. And also, this is an interesting topic. I think we've talked about it before, but there's no upside for them to upgrade their sound system. Because when you're a Live Nation, when you're Hartford, right? If there's a summer amphitheater show, I mean, Bridgeport, now I'll say this, Bridgeport had an amphitheater. The Foo Fighters played it, and it was only like a 15,000 person amphitheater. But like outside of that, the Foo Fighters playing there last year, these Live Nation amphitheaters, they're locked in to get a tour stop. If they're coming to Hartford, they're coming to Boston, it's not going to go to the TD Garden. It's going to go to Mansfield. So
Right.
there's no motivation. Whereas the arenas, not only do they have to try to compete for NCAA tournaments, for Frozen Fours, for wrestling, for just conferences, things like that, they also have to maintain a level of excellence for the 41 home games they have for basketball and hockey. So you see Madison Square Garden, TD Garden, Bayou, Phillips Arena. I remember they renovated that. They took out the suites, I believe.
Yeah, the
and they
entire
added,
side. And
they just said, hey, we're gonna sell tickets. Listen, we know Atlanta's not gonna sell out a bunch of Hawks games. The Thrashers left, but for concerts, we want to have more physical seats on the other side. Let's step up our meals. The Atlanta, you have different things that are stepped up because they have more. Every week at an arena, there's something they're fighting for, and there's something they're fighting to get people to go out. So that's an interesting thing. Now let's see what Kermit the Frog also has to say. How are you feeling about Jimmy getting a haircut? How do you feel about that?
I'm gonna take it. Yeah, good. Yeah, absolutely. I'm enjoying all the changes that you could possibly make to Jimmy thing. And with any song, I feel this way. I would rather the song evolve and change over time. I'd rather D&B not keep the exact same structure jam like Crush, but sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Like 41, don't really like the slow Tim outro they're doing right now. I prefer like Arjuna back on it. Freestyle is finally back a little bit. It's not as long as like the 2016 Common Freestyle endings, but at least there's something. And tonight was longer than the last 41 I saw. I don't even remember which show it was, Huntsville or Charlotte, whatever show had 41. The freestyle tonight was longer. So anytime the jams change, that's fine. We were due a Jimmy thing in Tampa because the 2019 show ironically got Back in Black, Staying Alive, into Fly Like an Eagle. That was it with no Jimmy thing. I thought it was really cool. They didn't play Jimmy thing at all that show. They just only did the covers. And I was like, well, they're just going to do a Jimmy thing again in 21, but I don't think they did. And so we were due one. It's fine. It's a very hard ending is what I would call it. Sounds great. A lot of high energy. The crowd loves it. It's not a song where, for years, Jimmy thing was the one where I would take a massive tour of the venue, just like you were talking about. Now that seems to be Nancy's because I love Nancy's to death, but it's just played so much that in Charlotte, I did the tour of the venue on that song. But, when Jimmy started tonight, it didn't groan like I used to. I was like, okay, here we go. This is fine. And then the outro jam's cool. So, I'm sure Zach feels the same. So anytime they can change up the jam in a good way, that's fine.
That's awesome. That's a very interesting thing that Nancy's is being played frequently now. That's your walk around, song because you're going to all these shows, and now you're okay with Jimmy. What did Andrew say? Andrew Hughes, he says, "I love Bayou considering I'm recovering from cocaine addiction. We want to wish you the best, Andrew, on that." Oddly enough, I was in the bathroom and missed Bayou in Denver last year, and he said, "FYI." Trey Anastasio band or Tab at Red Rocks was killer. I bet it was. I gotta listen to that on Live Fish, but that seemed like a really, really dope show. It actually snowed the day before or day or two before that.
Wow.
A couple of days before that, they went from 90 something degrees. Angie and Shane Whitford are out there in the Denver metro. but it was like 90 degrees on Thursday, and then I think Friday or Saturday it snowed.
Do you see the posters? The posters were ridiculously cool.
Oh, the poster for Tab at Red Rocks was amazing.
Yeah,
It was A1. That was Slater on the poster. Let's
pull
actually
it up. Just
pull
pull
that
it up.
up.
It's just good enough to bring it up right now.
And actually, we'll get to in a second. We'll get to the show poster for tonight. But let's look at Slate. Let's just appreciate this. Now, this was teased, and obviously, every DNB fan, hey, is this DNB? Hey, is this? And I didn't think it was going to be DNB. So this is the tease we got, and then this is the poster.
Ooh.
And this is just an amazing poster. Let's zoom out a little bit so people. Oh, I can't zoom out. But this is just an
the layout of
amazing
the screen, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, there we go.
This is just A1, and this is beautiful. And you can't have a Slater poster every show for D&D, right? They can't hire him. Like they're not. I would love for them to do a methane deal with Slater, but obviously, I think he would also run out of ideas at some point.
Right.
And we just want to send our best to Todd. I know I hope he's doing well. He lost his father earlier this year, and I know that's tough. Or I think it was either end of last year, beginning of this year. But we love his work. He replied to one of my tweets because I said, "Hey man, we appreciate your art." But this is just an A1. Oops, let's bring on.
Sorry,
this is just
weird connection. I don't know what that was.
Okay. It's not you, it's you, Mark.
I know.
But this is just an amazing poster. Now, let's talk about the poster from tonight. And what did you think of this poster here?
Not a fan of this one. It reminded me of methane, and it's not methane. I know it's not. And I checked the artist out earlier today at around 3:00 when the Warehouse poster went on sale. He's done Fish and other bands. It's just not my style. It's hard to judge for me. It's not a good way to judge a poster by if there's posters remaining after the show. So I've gone to West Palm Beach and they've had Epic Eats posters before, and there's stacks of them left after the show. Seriously. And that's the craziest thing to me. And Brandon's poster was left after the show. This one was left after the show tonight. So, it's you can't judge them that way. It's just, what do you like? Do you like them a lot? I don't understand what really sells the best.
Wait, you saying this one was sold out?
No, it was there after the show.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to look forward to people trying to sell this on the different poster boards, be like, yo, it didn't sell out. Jeff went to Mexico, and Jeff, I did talk to your wife. She says he's going to try to hop on. So Jeff and Michelle are awesome. I look forward to meeting them at Mansfield in Hartford. But he was in, Jeff, this is the same artist from the Mexico shows you went to.
That's why it looks so familiar then.
Yeah, it's the same artist. The biggest difference, though, to me is, and Kermit the Frog, he said this in our little Discord chat with the DMB Society. Love the people out there in that Discord chat. The butterfly does not stand out. So you have this beautiful butterfly that they use and various artists use for D&B. I can't distinguish the butterfly from the rest of the poster.
Right.
And the other thing is it's too much going on, where if we look at the poster from earlier this year for the triptych for Mexico, it's not going to show this. Let's see. We got to go to
the only place I know where it is in the Warehouse store. It's still up for sale.
Oh yeah. So let's go to the Warehouse store because I have my Warehouse.
I saw it earlier today. Ironically, that's the only place I've
store.
seen
Yeah. And that it didn't sell out. And I remember people were trying, like, pretty much you could get it because we saw videos from our friends out there. People were lining up. And they're like, oh man, they was the first day. They were like, oh, they actually Shane Whitford, I believe he posted video for us. Thank you, Shane. They had all 3 nights you could buy at night 1.
Interesting.
Some people were able to get, and again, this is Mexico. It's a limited run. Yeah, Angie said it's in our basement. We love it. I like this triptych here. And but also, like, if you look at this is part one. Oh, wait, what is it? What is this? Why is it like trying to hide this from me?
It's such a weird. The way they
But
displayed is weird.
yeah, but I love how at least this character right here stands out. This second character stands out. Part three. Oh, I don't know. Oh, I have no idea why it's doing that.
I don't know.
But anyway, these characters stand out. The green backing in the middle allows for that character to be there. The checkerboard at the bottom allows for you to, again, distinguish these different characters. Where if we go back to this, yeah, if you look at it in certain ways, you can see it. I'm sure in real life you can see, but it's just too much going on. And like it does remind me of some of the methane posters. I believe the one for SPAC, right? The SPAC Night 1. It just was it's too much. Again, not a fan, but I know some people will do it. Yep, and Jeff is saying in the comments, yeah, they sold all 3 day one. I think this the reason it's for the Mexico one. If you weren't at Mexico, this is cool, but it's not something that people are like, oh, it's a Grail poster. I think that's why it's still in the stores. And I think I don't know what the run is. Angie, I don't know if you know the run. Or Jeff, I don't know if you bought the poster, Jeff, there, but I don't know what the run is for the Dave and Tim, but I just think there wasn't enough demand for it. And some people actually sold this poster for a little more than face because of the hype of the Mexico weekend. Some people were able to sell this for more than 60. But then it was on the warehouse site, after people left. And at this point, you can't sell. I mean, you're not gonna be able to sell this for unless you have a foil. Was there a foil? I believe there was a foil for this. But unless you have the foil version, you're not going to be able to sell this poster. And of course, we had for Mexico, we did have. There was that other poster in Mexico that was really good. That was, who was that? I think it was the second or third night. Let's look back in the archives for. Not that one. It was. Oh, this one. Was this Slater too?
An incredible poster. My goodness.
Was this? I think this was Slater.
Could be.
Yeah, it was Slater because I remember that's when Todd Slater replied to me because I was like DMB fans, you don't want to miss this.
Yeah, that's a great poster. Wow.
Yeah, he doesn't miss. I mean, he doesn't. Slater, I love his stuff. Even the drive-in poster that he made was for New York City was really cool.
Oh yeah.
But he's able to make he has the Deer Creek woman, the MSG drive-in woman, but he can also do these animals. It's just he's a top-notch artist. He spreads the love across the community. So you get a lot of different things from him. And I love his work. He's just one of those guys that the whole community loves him. They respect him. They appreciate him. When he has a poster, it's probably going to sell out. Actually, it does sell out. I don't maybe there's some older ones that didn't sell out that show, but anything new, anything in the last, like since 2016 to present, anything Slater has sold out. So
he's great. We'll see if he has any on this tour. Surely he will, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Did you already talk about your Hartford show?
Let's talk about that, and hopefully we can get Michelle on. Well, if Michelle, if you're listening, or Jeff, I don't know if she's updated you. I think she just, if she can, we'll try to get to her at the end if possible. So this is let me get the.
Well, let's close out Tampa real quick. I'll just say that the Dreaming Tree tonight was even better than the one in Atlanta. Like the song is so dialed in right now.
That's awesome.
That I'm probably more focused on that song than any song of the show, but it's so dialed in. It would be a true shame if it does not continue the rest of the tour. And I really hope it does because I know a lot of people really want to see that song.
Right. No, that's awesome. And glad that you got it again. And like I said, I hope more people get it. Three plays so far. And I think that's a good sign of that it is dialed in. I was talking to people about Drunken Soldier on Twitter the other day. And
what a good song.
Yeah, but just like Dreaming Tree, if it's good, it's really good. If it's bad, people may not notice, but Dave definitely notices. And sometimes when it's rougher, it kind of goes away. And I think that's why it did ultimately go away.
Yeah.
Um,
Did you hear they released one of them, and the other one was at the Gorge in 2019. I saw that, the Liberation, but Dave changed the lyrics in the chorus. Did you notice that?
yes, I was there. I was at the Gorge in
Oh,
19.
okay, yeah, okay,
Yeah,
great.
it's like waste no time or so. He flipped it.
Yeah,
He just yeah. And I was like, again, my story was I was in the Gorge lawn. That was my first ever Gorge show.
we were probably near each other then. That was my first Gorge show
And
as well.
I was so excited, but the crowd really wasn't there. Now I could hear the pit, like I could hear the pit get excited. The video I had, the videos from other people in the pit, I could hear that. Where I was, people were kind of confused.
Sorry, I had a phone coming in. I declined it.
Okay. People
Yeah.
were confused about that. So, but that's a song where it's hit or miss. I've heard it great. I've heard it a little rougher. Shane says Sang is a great artist. I don't not now listen, I personally am not a Sang fan. I don't like the abstract nature. Like for instance, the Gorge poster from last year was to me was trash. I'm sorry. I mean, I just don't, but I don't, I know everyone has different art. I mean, art is subjective, but the Sang, where was it? It was night 2, I believe, last year of the Gorge. So that would have been, oh yeah, the Gorge was early. So this poster right here, it just, and this was the one poster that had like the Gorge, like the river. But this poster looked like it was blurry. I was like puddle of mud. Everything's so blurry. Remember when Fred Durst introduced us to Puddle of Mud for like a summer?
That's the thing ever. Now this is around the baggage carousels at Denver International Airport.
But yeah, so yeah, I don't know. All right, so yeah, thank you for sharing that. Now let's go to this because now technically it's midnight now, so now it's 5:26. But 10 years ago, May 25th, 2012, I went to my first show. This is a big moment in my DMB fandom. I had been a fan since 2005-ish, the LimeWire, era. I cannot confirm or deny if I whatever. But it's marching, right? What else? Like Lover Laid Down I had randomly, Crash Into Me. Like a lot of those hits I had on my, I got them on those mixtapes people used to make. But that was it really. I was like, this band is really good. Leroy sounded amazing. But I was like, the people who go to these shows are like a bunch of frat boys, and in Hartford, I can tell you it was a bunch of kids who didn't have good musical taste, but they went to these shows for the party. And some went for the music. Some people went for the party, end up falling in love with good music. So I didn't go to 2012. I go to this show. My friend drags me. It was like 4 tickets for $20 in the lawn. And I played at the beginning of the show. This Stone, not only was it a tour debut, one of 4 Stones played that year, but this Stone was epic. It was epic. They had a little like kind of like build up to it. It wasn't like they just played it off the bat. In 2012 and 13 and 14 and 15, you had some noodling at the beginning of the shows. It was amazing. The other thing I remember about this show, I don't like it now. The Tim C. DC effect. One thing that I actually really liked about this show at the time was Tim Reynolds made this like a rock show. I'm coming from the world of blues rock and new metal, the Linkin Park, Atreyu, 10 years, right? Um, Disturbed as far as the metal, right? That's what I was listening to in hockey locker rooms as from middle school to I graduated college in 2012. So this was like a week after I graduated college. So I loved Tim CDC at the time, and I'd listened back to this tape. Oh, okay. So Jeff, she's not gonna make it. All right, no worries. Thank you, Jeff, for letting me know. But I hope they're well down there in Tampa. But yeah, just to give you guys, so the rock stuff actually stood out to me, and I actually remember telling my friend, you know what? I actually like this band with Tim Reynolds playing full time. I then bought Live in Red Rocks, and for the first couple of months, I was more into this sound of the band. Now, eventually, I would be like, all right, I don't like this electric guitar. It's overbearing. I listened to the 2010 tour, and it's like, wow, it's Tim CDC plus plus plus. But this show, I remember loving the Seven, right? Loving the Crush, all the stuff that Tim did. Even the Stone, Tim was playing some mirror parts, so he was playing the same parts Dave was on electric. But when I look back at this show, this was a special show. If I don't get this show, I'm not here right now. I'm telling you, if I don't get this show, I'm not here right now. And the next night, let me just show you the next night. The next night, I'm exhausted. This was a marathon of a show compared to the John Mayer and Linkin Parks and the other mainstream acts. I Blink 182 at the time, Jay-Z, all these stuff I was seeing. This was an exhausting show, but it was a great exhaustion. The next show, I say, listen, my friend's like, hey, you should just get a lawn ticket for Saturday. And, I had my graduation money was flowing in. So I was like, I could, but I want to just chill, right? This is the next show, and this is one of the highest viewed Copper Pot videos ever. And just to show you guys, this is what it was.
Really? I didn't even know that.
It's one of the highest viewed Copper Pot shows. 5 Hartford 2012 full show. So this is the show. This has 880,000 views.
What? Wow.
It's almost at 1 million. It was in the hundreds of thousands very quickly after this. Now, the reason that this is a big show, right? Obviously, they start off with Sweet, but you have a beach ball, right? The only time it's been played in Hartford. 41 into Funny the Way It Is, cool, whatever. But Lion Our Graves with Stanley Jordan. In my first show, I got Stanley Jordan on Spaceman. Lion Our Graves two-step, the only Little Red Bird of the tour. Now, obviously, this is not a song people are chasing. Some people like it, but
right.
But again, the only Little Red Bird of the tour and only one played in Hartford ever. You have You Might Die Trying to Nancy's to Bridge Too Much. You have a Save Me into Halloween into Tripping Billies, and Dave breaks his string. I think it's during Tripping Billies. It's either. So this is, again, one of the highest viewed. And again, the main reason is because of that beach ball. The Halloween at the time, it was the tour debut of Halloween. It's one of 3 Halloweens. Now, after this show, right, just to flash forward, I have not missed any Dave Matthews or Dave and Tim show in Hartford. Now, obviously, I live here, right? But I have not missed a show in Hartford. I have not missed a show in Connecticut, Dave and Tim or full band Dave Matthews, since this show, 5/26/2012. Because this show was so popular. I'm like, wow, I was right there. I could have went. It was when I was at my parents' house after graduation, I was 10 minutes from this 10-15 from the venue. Right?
So
right.
How many years have they skipped? Didn't they skip Hartford last tour or something?
So here's what's happened. They did Mohegan instead of. So we actually got 2 nights again. We haven't had, the last time we had 2 nights in Hartford, Connecticut was in 2014.
Okay.
In 2015, we went down to 1 night, which was a huge adjustment for us because we had 3 nights for 2 years. 99 and 2000, I believe it was. We had 2 nights. If not it's either 99 2000 or 2000 2001. So they did Mohegan for 2 nights instead of Hartford. Now, the thing with this is they've done this same year in 2012. I went to the Mohegan show in the winter, but kind of like Alpine in Chicago, they can't go to Hartford and to Mohegan in the same tour.
Right.
So they were going to open up 2020. The opening night was supposed to be in Mohegan at Mohegan Sun in 2020, but obviously it was pushed. And when they pushed it, they changed the tour setup and they moved the tour dates later on. Then they switched night 1 and night 2 and reversed them. So my night 1 pit ticket was now a night 2 pit ticket.
Oh.
And I got rail for the first time. So that's a whole nother story. But this year was huge because, again, I saw a show that I missed and I had FOMO. I went to my first show and I had a stone, I had a blackjack, I had a lying in the hands of God, which I really liked, even with that Jeff Coffin sax solo. I know some people got sick of those because they played lying in the hands of God through the window to the wall from Big Whiskey's release to 2012. It was just played.
It got really epic though. In 2011 and 2012, the song just exploded.
It's amazing.
Best versions of the track.
And the encore Cornbread Ender was not that good. Now, Time Bomb was amazing. I love Time Bomb. I know Jeff here, Jeff Cock is on the stream, in the chat, and he loves that. I love the Time Bomb.
Yeah, Time Bomb's good.
But the blackjack to me is like, it's like looking back. I hear people who go to Fish shows in the mid 90s or late 90s, early 2000s, and they're like, "This, I can't believe I got this at this Fish show." And I look back at my 10 years, 32 shows, and I look back at that blackjack and I'm like, wow, that was rare. It had Boyd Tinsley still with the band. That was amazing. The other thing is the Gaucho was released as in the Away from the World bonus disc, and the Mercy was part of the summer tour warm-up. So another cool thing there. The Proudest Monkey, the first time since 2009 that Proudest Monkey didn't go into satellite. So Proudest Monkey in the One Sweet World was pretty cool.
That's great.
And at that time, I was really big into One Sweet World because my friend who got me into to go to that show, he also played that song at a benefit in college because we would do a lot of different performances. We would see each other because I would do spoken word, he would do his stuff. And do his he did like he would cover Peter Gabriel, Sting, Dave Matthews Band. He had his own original. So my friend Pete, was without him. You probably don't get Concert Viz 34. I'm probably still recording videos, but it's probably more alternative rock, probably more hip hop, and more towards that. Like again, I probably go to more John Mayer shows. I'd probably be chasing John Mayer up and down the coast instead of Dave Matthews. So that is huge. I do have to thank a couple people. First, the tapers like you. Anyone who's a taper, that got me into them. But most importantly, Copper Pot. All right.
Yeah, he's a legend. I mean, people come up to me every show and think I'm Copper Pot, and I'm just like, no. And they're like, the work that Copper Pot. Everyone tells me this. It's every single show I go to. They're like, the work Copper Pot does is the work of the gods.
Right. This show right here, this Hartford show, got me down a rabbit hole. And this was the way that I was able to learn about the history of DMB and just listen to stuff and the content that he puts out on Facebook and Twitter and everything. This is huge. And listen, I've had conversations, privately with him, and not like a phone call, but through messaging, right? And he's given me some tips for recording videos. But he does this for the love of what he does. He's not monetized. Okay. So he's not making money off this. He does a lot of work that he doesn't need to do. He edits video hours on end. And this is the reason that I stayed on the train, because if I didn't have this YouTube presence of Copper Pot, maybe I still go to one show a year, but this got me to say, I can't miss a Hartford show. This was like the advertising of don't miss an Alpine show, don't miss a Deer Creek show, don't miss a Hartford show, don't miss a Gorge, SPAC, whatever. He compiles these things. That's first and foremost is Copper Pot is very, 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 very important on my journey. along with my friend Pete. The other thing is the DMB Almanac. All right. When we go to this thing, one of the things that I pride myself on is listen, I soak in what people are saying from all sides of this community, right? I know people who cut shows who said I'm selling all my tickets for the rest of the year because of how some of these shows went.
Wow.
Now listen, or they're only going to their hometown show. And listen, there's a couple of people that are like, and again, I still believe in listening, and I understand why they're doing it too. That's the thing is I can understand that because some of it is just fatigue, right? You want to keep getting new stuff, you want stuff in rotation, right? I know people who listen to the phone book and love it, and I know people in between. But what I try to do is I pride myself on looking at the data and then saying, here is what we have to use. Emotion, when you argue on emotion, it doesn't get you anywhere. You can have your passion, but you have to have the data. And the almanac has been a great thing because it gives me the ability to say, listen, one of my biggest things that I've said is you can't, like people say, oh, well, why is this band repeating so many songs? I say, listen, why? Like they had 3-night stands in Hartford and they repeated Busted Stuff every night, right? So I can go over to these shows and see that they had 3 shows in 2000 at the Meadows Music Theater, and I also can see what was happening. So I see that 2 of the 3 nights they have the Stone, right? They have Busted Stuff every single night, right? I can go to the 26th, and then I can see, look at this. Look how many repeats there are,
Wow.
right? You have Busted Stuff. This is night 2. Busted Stuff repeat. This stuff was played in 2 shows. And then we go to night 3 of this, which is the Live Tracks album, Live Tracks 3. And we have Busted Stuff is repeated. JTR is played 2 of the 3 nights. The Stone was played night 1 and night 3. Drive In, Drive Out. All these 2s were played night 1 of Hartford. So this became a big thing where I said, let's look at the data. If the almanac doesn't have this data, I don't have this channel to be able to do the things that you see on here.
Right.
And even this idea of, listen, my argument has always been, it's not about repeats, it's about song rotation. When you have 42 JTRs in 2000, I know some people said they didn't appreciate that at the time. But when you have 42 JTRs, when you have 35 bartenders, right? When you have 28 drive-in, drive-outs, you can repeat that every other night. I'm going to be happy.
Right.
The frustrating thing from 2010, or even if you go back to some people, 2005 was a rough year, but some of the frustrations of the modern era are not the repeats per se. Most people, I know some people who are upset at that, but it's the song quality.
Exactly.
And that's why I can come into this year and I'm happy because I think the song quality, as we look at tonight's show, is there. So I got to thank the Almanac, all the supporters, like even you, Mark. Listen, you just found me on Twitter, right?
That's
you
right.
supported
Random
me.
as it gets.
Greg, Justin, John,
Zach,
Jeff, Andrew, like you guys, without you guys, I'm not here. And even at the Gorge, like people coming up to me and talking to me, like that's what I enjoy. It's not the fact that you know who I am. It's like people came up, oh, Conservator, but we had conversations to meet some of you guys on the road, to befriend some of you guys, to see some people at 3 or 4 different shows, and now I know who you are. The Instagram, like Jeff in Arizona, your wife Michelle, even like some of the other people, Erica, who's on all the Instagram people I've met, even in the last year, has been great. Just such great vibes, such great attitudes about this band and this music. And even if we disagree, there's a respect there. And that's all I've wanted. I said this with the Buffalo shooting thing, even though it's totally different. I don't like echo chambers. I don't like disrespect and pure hatred, but I don't like echo chambers. I like getting different opinions again. I can understand, and I know some people are like, what is crazy? I can understand why somebody 50, 60, 70, 80 shows in is upset about these song spreads. Because they're looking, they want that, like they want to just know that there's a bunch of different songs. So when they go to this show, that show, it's tough. Again, I have the opinion, listen, you should just go to the 2-night stands and never be disappointed.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it. I've just changed my focus so much to just the energy level. Like I know, as I've said before, that they're gonna have this group of core songs that they just play all the time because they're so comfortable with them.
Right.
And a majority of those songs that they do play a lot, they do play really well. Songs like, well, I mean, it's an argument. Like, do you want to hear "Can't Stop" that many times? I would argue that's not a great song, but yeah, that's neither here nor there. But a large majority of those songs are really good live songs for DMB to play, and I don't have any issues seeing those songs a lot. You know, like Nancy's Warehouse repeat every show. Yeah, that's a little bit extreme, but I can handle, you know, if I see 10 shows and a lot of these songs are played at 6 or 7 of them, that's no problem to me because, you know, I'm still getting a large variety of music. Like just this tour alone, the songs I've been able to cross off, and the tour just started. I mean, we're brand new into this tour. We haven't even gotten into the actual season yet, as you're saying,
Right.
which I 100% agree with. Now you've got Zach and I texting each other about we're still in the preseason, but just the songs that I've gotten that I've never seen before, from Shotgun to Break Free to Break For It to Dreaming Tree to I haven't seen Time Bomb in 4 years to, you know, Stolen Away, which I saw the only one last year. That was the only one I've ever seen. And then Old Dirt Hill. That's the first time I've seen it full band. That's a lot of songs, and we're like 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks in. That's a lot of different songs. 51 shows in for me that I'm still able to get. And so that's why I'm not very critical of the set list, because I'm still seeing such a large variety of music when I go out here and I see so many shows in a row. They're still giving me something to make me want to go to more shows, even though I do see a lot of the same songs over again. But that's fine if they're good performances of the songs and they're high energy and they're fun.
Absolutely. And that's the thing for me is 2021 and even 2019. 2019 was the turning point for me. I was Team Buddy in 2018, but they played a lot of songs that like stand up and buy you that I didn't like.
Oh,
But
yeah.
2019, when I finally got Funky Raven, I was like, they're on to something here.
Yes.
They're on to something because they're changing. They said it's not about what you don't have, right? It's about what can we work with. And that's a life lesson. It's not about what you don't have, right? You can whine and complain about it, but what do you have and what can you make with the best of what's around? And I love how this last year, like we think about Sweet was played tonight, right? Second Sweet of the tour. Sweet is a better song because of the dynamics and the awareness of everyone.
Right.
Madman's Eyes is a great sounding song that gives you the vibes of Last Stop and Minarets, but it's a new song and it sounds great, right?
Right.
You know, even just listening to the audio, the taper versions that you've brought out to us of Break Free, I just get happy. And that's really a big part of it for me personally. Some people can't do that. Some people listen because there's just a point where when you go to 20, 30 shows, right, it's more about you want to be surprised. You want to have more of a song spread.
Right.
But it is what it is. Now I want to get to Greg here. He says Setlist is playing next 20 shows. He says, would tonight be the opener? I think tonight, if anything, I really think I would say West Palm Beach is the opener. However, you could look at it that tonight is like when a team starts their season overseas. So they did this for hockey before the pandemic. Baseball has done it. Football, they usually hold off. They don't do London right away. But this could be almost like the opening night of a season where the team still has to get into a groove. They have, like for baseball, you play opening day or opening night, and then you get a day off, and then after that you play like your crazy schedule. I would say, if anything, this is almost like that first game overseas, or I know you're a Braves fan. It's that first game where you get your rings, right? Or, well, that's if you're at home. No, they start on the road. That's a bad analogy. But it's like, I remember the Red Sox got their rings, right? Opening weekend. I know that because I'm a Yankees fan. I hate the Red. But anyway, like, but when you get your, like, it's a different game. We're talking Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay gets their Stanley Cup rings. But you have that first game. That game can be a little bit rough, and you can't judge the season off that. But when you get to after that, the season really kicks off when you start getting in that rhythm. And I think West Palm Beach is really going to be the true either game 1 or game 2, whatever you want to call it, of the year, or week 1 or week 2 of base. Or actually, no, for baseball, it's like the second month of the, second or third month. Right. To me, baseball doesn't start until you have a couple months of data.
Right.
Yankees are in first place, but I'm like, don't celebrate, guys. I love the Yankees, but they got to keep hitting. They can't just have Judge bail them out with homers every night like of recently. They got to hit through July, August, September, right? And so that's that's how I feel about that. Well, let's see. We may be able to bring D&B Mamas on here.
Okay, I'll clear some space for that, and then reconvene with you after West Palm Night 1, which I'm really looking forward to. Every time I go to West Palm Beach, it's great. And I just told the story to Zach the other day. The 1 year I skipped West Palm, 2018, I was like, with Buddy, same feeling as you. I was like, not really sure about this. Gonna skip West Palm this year. Well, I'll be damned if night 1 they play the first Big Eye Fish bartender since like 2013. And I was like, oh my God, I missed that. And at that point, I'd never seen it. I had to go to the Gorge in 19 when you were there, night 2, to get that Big Eye Fish bartender. And so woke up the next day and drove to West Palm for only night 2. But I got all sorts of cool stuff like Midset Watchtower, Idea View, Captain. It was a great show. And now I'm just like, well, I'll never miss West Palm. So looking forward to it. And I'll definitely, I'll call you back in after that one.
Gotcha. And that's a great example because like you said, you can't compare the one-offs to the 2-night stands.
Yeah, it's just way different. You're not getting those repeats, and the band will dig in more, even though, they have enough songs right now to not repeat anything, probably. I'm assuming they have over 40 songs on the tour. I would hope. But even if not, they're going to tour debut some cool stuff at those always. That always happens.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So you got a Hello Again, got a Midset Watchtower.
Yeah, the Hello Again was great.
Nancy Warehouse. Yeah, so these are gems, even though you could say, yeah, they played Bayou, they played every day. Oh, the first like 20 minutes is pretty brutal.
Yeah,
but then you get to Captain, you get a Captain. Yeah, so that's the thing is you never know what you're going to get for the 2-night stands. And really, I just say you got to go to both nights. Right. You can I've seen SPAC even have a so-so night 1 or even a so-so night 2. You got to go to both nights, even if you have to grab a lawn ticket. You don't want to just go to one night because they may test out some stuff night 2. We've seen some night 1 sneak up and be the better show.
Right.
So it's important. But hey, safe travels to West Palm Beach. Are you going to go back to Atlanta or are you going straight to?
I considered it, but it's a little bit of a haul back to Atlanta, then to come all the way back down, then go all the way back. So I'm going to hang out down here, do some work, and then, post the show from Tampa, and we'll go from there.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being on. You have a good rest of your night. Take care.
Peace. Yeah, absolutely. Have a good one.
All right. So that is Mark. What is Andrew saying? Red Sox will always be over the Yankees because Pedro can take on Don Zimmer. Yeah, very funny. I remember that, his bald head getting mauled by Pedro. Oh, it's funny. One of the people in the D&B community was on the plane with Pedro Martinez and Andy B. His I don't want to share the picture because his Twitter is he kind of has it limited. So I don't want to share the picture, but he was literally on a plane with Pedro, and he's from the Boston area. He's a huge Sox fan, Pats fan. Um, this doesn't matter. This Justin, this doesn't matter. Give me a salary cap. The teams have mastered. The teams have mastered how to be mediocre. And actually, the thing I like about baseball is the teams with lower payrolls are actually doing very well. Like the Rays every year do well. The teams who actually the Yankees will spend a lot of money on talent. And we haven't won a World Series since '09 when I was a sophomore in college. I remember that. Like, it's because all the Marlins would do. Let's say the Marlins have to have a salary cap, right? The Rays aren't the exception. Think about the Texas Rangers, right? Texas Rangers, Oakland A's at times. Even if there's a salary floor, they won't be competitive. They're just going to pay people a little bit. They're going to pay people the bare minimum. The thing about baseball is, because think about all the teams, even the Cubs did kind of buy a World Series, but even the Cleveland Indians, they didn't spend a lot of money and they made it to the World Series versus the Cubs. Look at the Nationals. They got rid of, like, Bryce Harper went to the Phillies and then they won a World Series. That's what I love about baseball. The Florida Marlins beat my Yankees and they beat the Indians back in the 90s. So the thing about baseball is, unless the ownership changes, some of these teams, even if there's a salary floor, they're just going to sign people for a little bit more money, or they may sign one guy. And with the Scott Borases of the world, the best players still have to get paid a lot. And the other thing about this is, and this is actually what I love. And listen, the Yankees have suffered because of this. And even the best Red Sox teams per se, the last Red Sox World Series, I'll give that team was great. Because I go to Red Sox Yankees every year. The last Red Sox World Series team was great. They were good. They invested a lot in the team and they won. But some of the years, like 2012? Like 2012, where they put all this money into the team. Oh, it's the best team ever. The years that they put more money into free agencies are the years that the team suck. The thing about baseball is you got to build from your farm, and you also have to have people who can hit in the postseason. And even like the Cubs team that won that World Series, they had guys who could hit. The best thing about David Ortiz, and I'll say this about him, he hit when it matters. Same thing with Derek Jeter. David Ortiz, totally different players, right? Ortiz doesn't even play the field. But they hit when it matters. When it mattered, they got the hits. What is it? MLB and NBA are a joke without salary cap. I like the NFL and NHL because everyone has the same. I don't know. So the NBA, I thought the NBA had a salary cap. Because you have to pay luxury tax. Yeah, I think the NBA does have a cap. The NBA does have a cap, right? And also, there's a bonus, like, depending on if you sign a player within your organization to like a max deal, if they were already with the organization as like you can get a benefit. Also, think about people give a lot of crap to basketball. Look at the Boston Celtics, even though it pains me to say this, I hate the Celtics. But the Boston Celtics, they built a team organically. The Milwaukee Bucks, they built a team organically. The Golden State Warriors, like the super teams in basketball, you have to have chemistry. And my uncle actually has coached a couple pro players in AAU, and he's not the bad AAU type of coach. He's a great coach. He actually cares about their life. Like my uncle has helped kids that had no father, that were destined for a life of crime in Jersey and Trenton, right? And he's literally just, even some of them that didn't go pro, that played in Europe or never did it, he's helped them in their next stage of their life. Some of these kids got college scholarships and have a government job right now, making good money. Shout out to my uncle. But I'll say this, with people give the NBA and MLB all this stuff. Oh, they don't, you have to, like, it's all about these superstars. No, it's not. The NBA playoffs, you have to have a team that plays good defense. I know people hate on the NBA, they don't play defense. No, if you want to win an NBA title, you have to play defense. The James Hardens get exposed, and I'm a Sixers fan, but James Hardens get exposed. Right. But even when the big teams pay the luxury tax, they still lose. I mean, again, think about the Philadelphia Phillies. They got Bryce Harper. They spent all this money. They have one World Series since the 80s, right? One World Series. The Marlins have two. That's the thing. People talk about the Marlins. The Marlins have more World Series in the last, well, now it's about 30 years. The Marlins won in the late 90s. It was in 97 and 2003. As bad as they are, they still won two World Series. At one point, they had two World Series within a decade, right? If we're in 2005, the Marlins won two World Series in less than a decade. If we're in 2005, we go back in time. So as much as people give crap to that stuff, to win any sport, there is no cheat code, right? You have to have the chemistry. You can't just get a bunch of good players. Think about the Detroit Pistons, and I think that was 04 or 05. They beat the Lakers. The Lakers had all these players. Now, some of them were older, but they had all these players. Yeah, you're losing. Yeah, no, I know it's your opinion. No, I'm just saying, let's say I see that's what I love about baseball is you literally don't know who's gonna win. Yeah, Greg says San Diego's not a big market. Yeah, Greg lived in San Diego, so he would know that. I got to get out there one of these days. My parents actually had their honeymoon in California and went to San Diego and loved. This is in the 80s, but I got to get down there to San Diego and LA. But it's so expensive, like between the gas and the rental car right now. One of these years I'll get down there. Oh, by the way, I do want to share this video, and I'll put it in the chat. I'm going to put it in the comments because yeah, San Diego is close. It's a couple yeah, they're very close in Southern California. So this is a video, and I don't want to play the whole thing, but this is Asia and BJ. Now they're a YouTube team. This page that it's on, so you subscribe to this is their video log channel. It has about 3.6 thousand viewers or subscribers, but their regular page, they do reaction videos. And for those who don't know, reaction videos have been the big thing the last couple of years. The reaction videos are they have 34,000 followers for the reaction video page. But they went to a Dave Matthews Band show. I just want to play a little bit of this, but again, I don't want to overplay it. I want you guys to support their channel and watch this, because what I love, like I said, we're celebrating 10 years of me going to shows. I love seeing new fans really experience DMB. So this is just the beginning of their video here. I'm going to play it for you.
I am.
All right, so y'all, we about to do this thing. We about to do this thing called experiencing the Dave Matthews Band.
Dave Matthews Band.
We just pulled into the parking lot at the Dos Equis Pavilion.
Yeah, it's not that hot. I thought it would be really, really hot, but it's not that hot. It is sunny, and I got on all black, y'all. Look.
I know.
Check the fit.
I was saying the same thing to them.
My little...
Head to toe. From head to toe. Bam. Beautiful, masterpiece, a masterpiece.
Best I could do with a busted ankle, okay?
Right.
That's
no,
the best y'all can get.
No, you good.
So we're about to go see Dave Matthews Band, y'all. This is the first time we've seen them live.
So I want you guys to go to their channel. Again, I don't want to overpost this. Support them. This is really dope. And again, you're going to see a great, I'll just tell you that, I mean, I think you'll enjoy hearing a pair of fans that has never seen them live. And there was actually a D&B fan who drove from Houston to Dallas just to get them the tickets. Let me tell. We're trying to get D&B Mamas on the phone. Let's see, I'm kind of wrapping up. Yeah, because I do want to get off, but check them out again, Asia and BJ. They have this again. This is their video log channel. But if you go to their main channel, right? If you go to their channels, this one they have 35,000 views, and they talk about various things. There's some interesting stuff. This is more of just like, topics that's going on in the world. Here, these are more just like, so some of this stuff, maybe you're not into this stuff, but again, really cool to see the other channel. Again, Asia times BJ. And you can see the video right here. That is really cool that they were able to do that. Let me see if we can. Listen, I talked about Buffalo last week, and what happened in Texas is heartbreaking. I talk about 10 years ago, I went to my first D&B show ever. And that same winter, obviously Newtown happened. And I said this before. I had a friend who was working at Newtown High School the day of this of the Newtown, the Sandy Hook situation, right? He's miles from Sandy Hook Elementary. He's born and raised in the town. He loves the town. He's now teaching. I believe he was student teaching or assisting, a teacher assistant at the time. But he was, I always say this happened, in early December. During the holiday break, we went out to hang out, right? And usually he's happy, he's, easygoing, has a good time. When I looked into his eyes, when I saw his body language that whole night, we hung out, a bunch of our college friends. We just had graduated. Remember, we graduated in May of 2012. We go to the winter of 2012 when we're catching up during the holiday. Actually, my friend was about to have, speaking of something to tell my baby, my friend was actually about to have her daughter. So we had like a little get together. I think it was 2012, early 2013. And anyway, I just remember he was not the same. Like his personality, he was visually just, you could tell that this thing that happened in his hometown, he knew this community, right? It just brings me back to that time. This was a horrible thing. I work with children in my community of various ages. There's some kids I've known since they were babies, and I volunteered in aspects at Bible camp with them, right? And now some of those kids are now teenagers. Some of them just went to prom, right? So I love my cousins, my friends' kids, my cousins' kids. Like I love just looking out for and being a role model to the youth in my community. So when I see elementary school kids, listen, all these things are horrible. I go back to Columbine as a kid. All this is horrible, but when it's elementary school kids, and when my church held for Anna Grace, my church held the funeral because her parents occasionally went to my church. I never met them. And I think it was because I was in college when they were in college. But anyway, long story short, they met at University of Hartford, and they went to my church here and there when they were in college. But long story short, they had the funeral at our church. So like seeing what happened, knowing people, some of the people I went to college with, they had the principal at Sandy Hook Elementary, I believe it was, Dawn Hop Spring, I believe it was. She was their principal back at Danbury Public School. So, and Victoria Soto, right? I didn't know her, but she walked the same campus that I walked at Eastern Connecticut State University for 2 years. She was 2 years older than me. But some of the people that I knew, the upperclassmen, were in the same school classes with her. And she was a teacher who lost her life for Newtown. I know it was Sandy Hook. So I say that to say that was probably one of the worst times. That's probably I think it's the worst tragedy in the state of Connecticut. I don't know the whole history of Connecticut, but to me, that's like the worst thing. 9/11 impacted us because I knew, like, obviously I'm 2 hours from New York, and my hockey coach went to go. My hockey instructor, and he was part-time coach for me. He went to Ground Zero to help rescue people. Like, he was part of the state police. But anyway, Sandy Hook was literally in Connecticut, and it was just like the worst. I could not conceptualize how horrible it was. But I say all that to say that, what happened last night, it breaks my heart as somebody who loves to help the youth of America, who has friends. My school, Eastern Connecticut, 80% of my friends are teachers from college that I still hang out with. 80% of them. So they've been in the school. They've literally just hit their 10-year mark as teachers. Some of them who got job offers out of college. And when I tell you Sandy Hook changed everything, especially in Connecticut, like, I think about them. I think about all of you guys who have children. It breaks my heart what happened. It's a lot, and we got to do much more than believe if we want to change things, and it's a bunch of different things. It's not just one thing that we're talking about. There's multiple things that need to be done, and we need to focus on this country. I'm sorry, like, I know there's horrible atrocities going on across the world, and we want to help. But in order to better help the atrocities in other parts of the world, we need to fix this problem in America. And there's multiple things. It's responsible ownership, there's legislation, but it also is, and again, I know people that work with people in the mental health field. That's part of it, but also there needs to be more laws. But there's so many different things that need to be done. And it's not just one agenda. It's not even an agenda. We need to protect our children, right? We need to protect our elders who passed away in Buffalo, because a lot of those people were over 50. Some of them were over 60. They were they were beloved members of the community that lost their life, grandfathers and grandmothers, and we need to, as a country, we need to make sure that when we see warning signs, we fix them. We need to make sure it's harder for people to get these things. Who is this person in the chat? Okay, I'm going to block this person. I'm sorry. There's something's wrong with this. I need to. Oops. I just tried to block whatever that thing was. Someone just spammed the chat. If Justin, can you still chat? Because I may have accidentally blocked. If you were blocked, I don't think you're blocked. No, I don't think you're blocked. But Justin, can you still chat? And I'm sorry, Andrew. It looks like, yeah, one of your friends was almost ran over by the maniac in Charlottesville. That's wow. That was another situation. Okay, you can't. Great. If anyone can't, I think I tried to block. There was some, again, if you can't see it, great. But someone in the chat there was a spam filter. I think I just was able to delete it. But anyway, I say all that to say that I'm just heartbroken by what happened in Texas, and I want to try to get this thing up because we want to have all these, and we're gonna do a tribute to them right now for the ending of the show. Um, because again, I'm just there's nothing more I can say. Everyone has said what has needed to be said, but we need to find a way to change this, and even if it means that we find ways that it may just take people outside of politics to start to I just because I just don't because I don't even see politically. Listen, there was already something that happened in Texas that and things didn't change then. So um can I pray? Yeah, I'll pray for you guys. If you are listen, I'm a Christian. I'm gonna tell you, I'm straight up, I'm a Christian. But I'll pray for you guys. Um let me get the outro music here. Let me set up this outro music and then but I'll say a quick prayer. And I know again I understand that thoughts and prayers, listen, we say that all the time, but I still do believe in prayer, and but it's not just prayer because even the Bible says faith without works is dead, right? You don't have to agree with me, you don't have to be a Christian. Listen, you're not a Christian, you're eighth, whatever. I'm not going to block you, I'm not going to not talk to you. I have people of various viewpoints of life from a religious standpoint, or have no religious belief at all. But I do want to play this mercy. This is from 520. I'm going to play this in the background at the end, but it's going to be the mercy from my first show, the taper audio, because I don't want to get in trouble with YouTube audio. But I'll do a quick prayer. Again, if you don't want to participate, hit the mute button, and I'm going to wave my hand like this once I'm done with the prayer. If this is not what your whole thing. All right, but thank you, Justin, for suggesting that. So we'll end with the prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, this night, this opportunity to live on this earth. Help us to be the change that we want to see in the world. Help us to love others, even if they hate us. Help us to show love. Help us to really have actions. As you said in the Word of God, faith without works is dead. Help us to really, truly be about finding ways for peace. Help us to help those who are isolated, depressed, those who are going through PTSD, even with Memorial Day weekend, those who may have lost brothers or sisters in arms and who are feeling horrible. Help us spiritually to help others fight the horrible things in their mind. Help us not to be isolated and to feed into the hate and anger that we see on a daily basis on TV. Help us not to be divisive, but again, to show love, to truly do what you say. Help us not to make our own self idols. Help us not to be idols. Help us not to worship ourselves or be too greedy or too hungry for power, or help us to have self-control. Help us to be disciplined. We just pray for these families, the parents, the siblings, the loved ones, the first responders, the teachers, the students in this community. We just ask you to help us to be the change. Help us to do what we can to make sure that we look out for those in our community and ultimately represent your word, which is a word of love and peace and of helping our neighbor, loving our neighbor as we love ourselves. In the name of Jesus' name we pray, amen. All right. Oops. Oh, wow. This thing. I'm sorry, guys. If you're watching the replay, you guys don't see it. The spam. Yeah, the spam is back. I don't know what's going on. But I will block that. All right, so we're going to end the show with Mercy from 5/25/2012. And again, just listen. The best thing that I can say is what are you doing every day to help others? That's all. I mean, that's the most tangible thing you can do. And beyond that, there's some measures that we're gonna take. You know, there's different things that we can do to really pressure those. But this is gonna take. It's gonna take more than our politicians. It's gonna really take the people to say, look, we're not gonna reelect you if you're not gonna do this, and that. If you're gonna take advantage of this situation for votes and for money, no, you're not getting no. It's going to take that. It's going to take that. And it's going to take the people. Because most times, listen, I don't want to get too political, but listen, some of the greatest stuff I've seen during the pandemic, some of the most beautiful acts of kindness, it's not the politicians. And I know they do care, right? I know some of them do care. And not every politician is bad. But some of the greatest things I've seen over the last couple of years with the pandemic, when I think about 9/11, when I think about Sandy Hook, it's been people that don't have their affiliation on their sleeve, people that just want to help others. And that's why I say it's really going to take the people taking our schools back, taking our communities back, and also just helping others, right? Because some of these programs that are not helping people, but us as people can really change certain things and push for certain things and say, listen, we're gonna be the change. Anyway, that's all I got for tonight. Thank you guys for coming on. The next show is going to be on Friday or Saturday, May 28th. There's no Friday show. I'll be at Goose. If you guys like Goose, I'll be at the opening night of Goose here in Connecticut. That should be a wonderful show. My first Goose show ever. I'm excited for that. We'll end you guys off with Mercy. Rest in peace to, again, these young, innocent souls and a teacher and a grandmother who also lost their lives. Yeah.
Imagine that we could get it together, stand up for what we need to be, 'cause crime won't save or feed a hungry child, can lay down and hope for a miracle to change things. So lift up your eyes, lift up your